Welcome to Coalcast, episode 5. I'm Logan.
And I'm Nate.
And today on the show with us, we have two awesome guests that I'm super excited for. On the right, we have Marcello Salvati, a.k.a. Byt3bl33d3r. He moved here to work for Coalfire back in 2015 from Italy. He's since left to work for Black Hills InfoSec, and in that time, he's developed a good number of Python tools. Some of them you might have heard of if you work in pen testing or the security industry. CrackMap Exec, Red Baron, now Silent Trinity, and a whole bunch of other stuff. And on the left, we have Dan McInerney, a.k.a. Flying Triangle, a.k.a. Goddan M, a.k.a. What was the other one, the Ohio boy name?
Microwave.
Microwave.
That's the Utah crowd.
Sorry, not Ohio. Also developed a lot of Python tools and done a lot of cool stuff. Still at Coalfire. He hasn't abandoned us yet.
Well, Icebreaker.
Yeah, Icebreaker. What else?
Landspy.
MSF Autopwn.
Landspy.
Inspy.
Nothing
He's
that
like, I'm not
important.
proud of anything.
Nothing that important.
Wi-Fi
yeah.
jammer.
Wi-Fi jammer, that was a fun one.
But welcome to the show, guys. I'm
welcome.
really excited
Thanks.
for this episode. This is going to be
Thanks
a
for
good
having
one.
us.
Yes, thank you.
We're also filming in a new location. We got a nice view. I don't know if that's on camera or not.
We're in the presidential suite.
Yeah, we got an upgrade today.
Yeah, this is pretty dope. This is
So,
pretty dope.
do you have anything you want to open with? You
Yeah.
have like a whole bunch of questions.
I know I'm the questions person.
Question master, Nate.
So, well, before we get into anything, can you guys both just give us kind of your origin story and like where you came from and like just background information like that? Like you were born in Italy.
Yeah. I was born. Well, actually, I was born in New York, and I actually moved to Italy when I was like 4 to 5 years old. My parents, I don't know why exactly my parents decided to move there.
What is it like growing up at a 4-year-old without knowing the language of the country that you're living in?
It's really weird.
I can imagine.
It's really weird. Yeah. I mean, actually, so when you're a kid, you learn languages real fast. So like, it wasn't that big of a deal, and also like I was really small, so I don't think.
The words
That makes
come out
it easier to...
I don't know.
The smaller the words
No,
come out
I think it's
easier.
just because
Yeah.
I don't remember it a whole lot. I
Right,
think
right.
that's basically it. And yeah, so and then I moved to Italy, and then I lived there until like 3 to 4 years ago, and then this dude.
Oh yeah, he recruited you.
So-
He illegally brought me over here.
Yeah, I imported
Get on
Marcello.
this.
He's
Get
your
on
anchor-
this.
You're the anchor baby.
Yeah.
What happened was...
Please.
We're writing Python tools at the same time. He was writing man-in-the-middle framework, and I was writing Landspy.
Wait, how did y'all meet?
This is
So-
this is
yeah,
it.
this is it.
Yeah, but how did you guys meet though?
Yeah. So we're writing the same tools. I remember he put some pull requests in for me, and we end up writing like the exact same tool, exact same time. And I sent him an email after a few months of chatting online that Marcello says was a little standoffish. I don't remember this being that standoffish.
It wasn't. No. It was.
Well, you were writing
that bad.
CrackMap Exec, and he went. I'm just kidding.
I was like, who are you, and why are we doing the
Writing
exact same thing?
No, I
here?
think it was just really spooky because like
Spooky.
yeah, because we were writing sort of the same thing, and then we started talking, and then we basically had the same freaking ideas
Yeah, over and over.
over and over again. And then there was another thing, DHCP shock. Remember that when
Yes.
Shell Shock came out?
Yes.
I remember that. Yeah.
Shell Shock came out, and there was you could actually exploit DHCP using Shell Shock to get command execution
Yeah.
on someone else. So we both are like writing Python tools to exploit that at the same time. Like it might have been in the same day because I started writing it. I think the day Shell Shock
Yeah, I
came
think
out.
Trusted Set came out with like a point of proof of concept.
Yeah.
Or something using some other tool, but there wasn't like a Python implementation of it, so I was like, screw it, I'll get on it.
It was easy. 'Cause
Yeah,
we
it
both
was-
knew Scapy.
Yeah, yeah,
Scapy
yeah.
was the library that like really cut my teeth on.
Okay,
Yep,
okay.
same.
So let's rewind a little bit. So you were born in Italy.
No.
In New
And
York.
then fast
New York.
forward.
And then Italy.
Born in New York,
Fast
moved to
forward 20
Italy.
years.
Yeah.
Life
Moved to
was
Italy.
happy, good.
Yeah. Well,
Okay.
yeah, okay. Yeah, pretty much.
Eating
And-
gelato.
Oh, we'll get into that.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of stories there.
All right.
But yeah, I moved to Italy, and then I lived there all my life. I did middle school, preschool, elementary school, middle school, high school.
How'd you get
6
into
high schools.
hacking?
Well, okay, so I guess it was mainly because I grew up in a really, really remote area in Italy, central Italy. And it's in the middle of nowhere. Like, it's this little town. And I think it was mainly because I had really nothing else to do.
Okay.
So my parents bought, like, originally my dad had like a Texas Instruments laptop with like Windows 95 on it, which from like the 90s, 80s or something.
They're still
ridiculous.
selling that laptop.
Yeah, they're
same price, exact same specs.
Yeah,
20 years
yeah.
later, just
Yeah.
like their
Wow.
calculators.
It's amazing. And I sort of like, I started really getting interested on that. And then they bought a compact Windows with Windows XP on it. And that's where I sort of really started playing around with it. At first it was just video games. And then I started really getting interested in it. And I forget like the sequence of events, but it just happened so fast. Like I just started using the internet a whole lot. I started getting interested in like how the hell everything works.
Do you remember
And-
like your first exploit that you?
I
Hack.
never really was good at exploit writing. Like that's never been my thing, and it still isn't my thing. Like I've always developed stuff. So like the very first thing that I developed, if I recall correctly, was like a bash script, which is interestingly enough, is
Okay.
what he started doing
The
too.
exact
The
same
exact
tool I
same
was writing,
thing.
too.
Yeah, it was like I think it was like a bash script that like the first ever thing I developed was a bash script that basically like was a wrapper around like Ettercap back in the
Ettercap
day.
and DNS spoof.
Yeah,
and
DriftNet.
DriftNet. Yeah, DriftNet was the big one.
DriftNet was amazing. It still is. I love DriftNet.
So fun.
So much fun with that. And yeah, so I wrote that, and then like my first Python thing that I ever did, I think it was like if I remember correctly, it was like some kind of wrapper around MSF Venom that like obfuscated some payload or something. I forgot. It was a long time ago. So that was like my first Python thing, and then after that, I started really getting interested into like man-in-the-middle attack stuff. So I started writing MITMF, and then like he started writing LandSpy during the same period of time. And yeah, that's pretty much
I
it.
feel like the reason that we both started in Wi-Fi, and I feel like
Yeah.
most of our coworkers started in Wi-Fi too, because Wi-Fi is really practical when you're in high school and college.
Because you're on the
Because
college Wi-Fi.
You're living in an apartment. There's
Yeah.
Wi-Fi all over, and you realize that web can be cracked like instantaneously.
And for anecdotal reasons, there's a lot of web in Italy. For perfectly
yeah.
anecdotal reasons.
I imagine so.
Yeah.
There's a lot of web in the U.S. still, even though it's
Yeah.
been deprecated for
I
like
mean,
20
I haven't
years
seen
now
a
or
lot of
something.
web here.
I haven't seen it in a while, not since
That's-
2011.
That's
Yeah.
good.
Yeah. In Italy, there's still a
There's still a lot of
Crap ton.
WPS too, which is weird.
yes,
like,
yes, there is. Yeah,
yeah, you can brute
There's a
force
lot
that
of that.
quick.
yeah.
So Dan, can you tell me some more about like your origin story and like how you were
Yeah.
born and conceived
I didn't.
How
start
are you conceived?
from
Yeah.
two parents?
How are you
like-
conceived?
Moving to Indiana on a stormy
And
night.
then
like-
tell about the
born from an egg?
tell about the radioactive raccoon.
Yes, of
Okay.
course,
Yeah,
of course.
Yeah.
Well, I've heard different
I,
stories. So.
no, I wasn't even into computers until I was like 21 or 22 because I graduated college with a psychology degree. And I'll tell you, psychology degrees don't do anything for
Careful,
you.
careful.
Essentially useless.
Okay.
More or less.
shit.
Unless you want to get like your doctorate and become a psychiatrist or something, but
Yeah.
a bachelor's.
You can go
yeah.
back to school and then you can get a bad job with no job prospects and live out your life like that. That doesn't sound very fun. So I graduated and I was getting $8 an hour doing a leasing agent job.
Wow.
And I had just cracked, I had rooted an iPod, and that was like, I went into that flow state, you know, that psychological state of flow where the task at hand is exactly at your skill level and you just lose track of time. You don't want to go to the bathroom. You don't want to eat. You don't want to move. I didn't move
You're
for
in
like
the zone,
13
yeah.
hours. And I finally rooted my little iPod and it was so much fun. I was like, this is a potential career path because if I can do this permanently, like that'd be sick. And then I started learning programming.
Yes.
And that was the end of that. That was
a rabbit hole.
yeah.
Yeah, that was
when,
my rabbit
That was
hole,
when I
too.
took off.
You start doing that, you start like it's a hell of a rabbit hole, especially like if you're building. And this is like sort of part of the problem. Well, I guess this is a whole different topic of conversation, but like, this is sort of part of the problem, in my opinion, of like what academic programming right now. Like if you learn programming through like college and universities, it is not practical.
Every
Like,
class, it's the same
it's not
thing.
even, yeah, it's not even that.
They don't teach
It's-
you how to use Git. They teach you
Yeah,
on Java most of
They
the
teach
time.
you stuff that like was relevant. I mean, it's some of it is still relevant, but the thing is, when you're starting to teach programming to people that have never programmed a thing in their life, right? You're gonna start them out with C. I mean,
Right.
come on, like what
Java
kind of
and C.
stupid stuff
I
is
don't.
that?
I don't think
What do y'all recommend?
Python.
Python's super.
Yeah.
Did you expect something else?
Yeah, no.
Pearl, I think, is
Yeah,
probably a
Pearl,
good
yeah.
start.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, you just like getting a method going in Python versus doing it in Java. It's like system dot,
Yeah,
like
it's so much
null
easier.
void blah blah in Java. With Python,
what
it's
I've-
just do it.
What I've noticed is that more than 50% of our colleagues did not study InfoSec or computer science at all
Yep.
in school. They all either high school dropout, college dropout, or they graduate with a degree that's as good as being a dropout.
So
Yeah, I
so
have an associate's, and I dropped out halfway through my
It's
bachelor's.
pointless. I
Yeah,
asked him. So
somebody was asking me this today.
I went to 6
Yeah.
different high schools.
yeah.
Did you really? Oh.
Yeah, I
School
went to 6
sucks.
different high schools, 2 different middle schools.
oh yeah,
Two different Yeah, I had to repeat 2 to 3 years. I forget. I had to repeat a lot of freaking years.
Why?
Why don't you take your theology class seriously, Marcello?
No, my Latin class.
Oh,
yeah,
your
don't
Latin.
get me started with that.
Take the Latin,
Yeah,
Marcello.
exactly. No, I was never. Yeah, this is a funny story. So, and then that's like getting into a whole other thing too.
No,
Yeah.
I want to hear it.
We have
that's
two
why
private
we're
hours.
private
This is the
Yeah,
time.
yeah, exactly.
Why did you go to 6 different schools?
Because I sucked at school, man.
Don't ask me that.
I really did. Like, I just
25
didn't-
years old with these world-class tools, and he sucked
No,
at
I sucked at
school.
school. I sucked at tests. I mean, I think it was mainly because like I wasn't interested in anything that I was studying. That's part of it. And I aced like chemistry and chemistry
No,
and yeah, it's
go
fine.
ahead.
Yeah, chemistry and computer class. But the thing is, like the computer class, they were teaching me Pascal. There was this like 80-year-old woman teaching me Pascal, and then wait, I got a 10 out of that. That was like I got a 10 out of 10 on that. But the thing is, computer class was considered non-mandatory, so it counted like half towards your grades. So I didn't even do anything. I still repeated the year.
In my high
Didn't
school,
even
they
count anything.
counted my computer class as a language class because you could take like German or French or Spanish or Java. So that was
Yeah.
kind of cool. And,
Wow.
and it also counted as a math class if you took the AP version. So my senior year, I took like computer programming, like 2 computer programming classes and like a social studies class, and that was it.
Yeah.
Like, because that counted as like 4 different classes, the 2 computer
was
classes.
really, I don't know about the definition of like it's a language. I mean, it is a language, but like it's not.
It's a language like
not-
sign language is
You're
a
not
language.
speaking Java to a person. Like, come on,
Yeah.
it's not. You're
Yeah,
not gonna
right.
go up and it's like yeah.
It's more of a
Define
like,
hello.
Yeah, define hello.
it's more of a science. It's more of like a data science type thing. Yeah.
Import greeting.
Yeah, it's closer to
Greetings,
math.
hello.
Closer to math than it is to like a foreign language.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
are y'all pretty much in consensus that college degrees are just like
I see
a waste?
no value.
I mean, I'm sort of
whatsoever.
biased because I fucking hate the school system. But
Yeah.
that's just me.
and
I
the
see
U.S.
no
school
value.
system, especially, like
I
let's
don't
put
even
you
know.
in debt
So the
forever.
thing is that it seems like here though it's a lot more fun. Like at least like you're spending a lot more money, but it's a lot more fun.
yeah, there's like
in the
parties
US.
and
Yeah, in the
sororities and
U.S.
stuff.
Yeah, in Italy it's not like that. There's none of that shit. So like there's like just nuns.
I have a friend from
Yeah, that's
Party with the
basically
nuns.
Party with the
Party with the
priests.
Nuns.
Yeah, oh boy.
Get your hand slapped. I've got a friend from Norway, and she is going to school in England right now, and she's trying to become a teacher. So that's her whole thing. She's like getting her master's degree in education or whatever. And she goes to school 1 week out of the semester, and then everything else is self-study. And then she comes back for a week at the end of the semester and takes a test, and that's how they do school there. And she says that it's all paid for by a government grant, and she's going to get like an official accredited degree that way. It sounds amazing.
Yeah, no, my entire schooling, the schooling that I did do, it was free, and then I was paying $500 a year for my college.
$500 a year. Wow.
Yeah.
See, that's kind of worth it.
That
But
is-
see,
Yeah.
I was paying,
Oh.
Yeah,
10K a year.
Yeah,
if not more than that.
And it's
20K.
if you're going to like a private university too, like one of the nice ones.
Oh, man.
You know
my
what's
God.
funny too? That's another thing. I was talking about this. That in Italy, it's the reverse. Private universities are considered like really bad.
Wow.
So like if you go to a private university, it means you're dumb.
Go to a private.
Yeah, I did.
Okay, just
So
checking.
interestingly enough, yes, I did go to a private university, and it was the best year I've ever had in my life.
party school.
Oh my god, that was the best. That was the best. Yeah.
So we were actually talking about your upbringing. I don't know how we talking about you and you didn't tell us how you were conceived.
okay, so
I don't think you're using that word
when
right.
a man, when
do
a
you
man
mean?
and a woman love each other very much.
What do you mean? How was he conceived?
Where you were born and that stuff. And yeah.
Born in Indiana, moved to Cincinnati, and then moved around for jobs and stuff in Utah and Kentucky, and now I'm here.
And then how you got into hacking was
That was because I rooted my iPod, and I was
Right.
like, I need to go into IT.
That's
so
what I
I,
meant.
so I
So
decided I was going to go into IT.
what led you to the iPod thing? Like why were you trying to root it?
It just looked like a fun thing to do, honestly.
You get a
Just
new
like
wallpaper. You don't have to worry about like
Yeah, I
installing
wanted
official
to
keyboards.
download stuff for free.
Yeah.
I wanted
Dude,
Cydia.
that helps.
I get Pandora Prime for free. Hell yeah, I'll root my
Yeah, right?
iPhone. Yeah, that's why I did
Yeah,
it.
free apps and stuff. I mean, it's all for practical
Oh,
purposes.
okay.
I mean, hacking. I got into hacking for practical purposes. I want Wi-Fi wherever I go.
That's fair.
I wanted to get free apps on my iPod, stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And then I realized like there's a lot of power here. Mm-hmm. I just scraped the surface.
It's great. Yeah, it's like hacking really is like the modern day superpower. I think, in my opinion, it's probably the
Yeah.
closest thing you can get to an actual superpower.
When like the whole world's powered by computers, everything you do requires a computer, and you can like break into that.
Well,
That's pretty
yeah.
sweet.
You think about a computer as essentially like it's like a magic ball. You give it commands like spells. You give a little spell, and it does massive amounts of work for you.
That's fair, yeah.
You just got to get the spell right.
Yeah.
Or else you get a syntax error.
Exactly. Yeah, so instead
Can you
of-
imagine back
yeah.
in Merlin's time? Syntax error.
Yeah, syntax error.
Why is he
Segmentation
turning
fault.
back into a human? Guess you're a frog forever.
Close parenthesis expected where a semicolon was found. Like, no!
Oh, man.
So instead of Wingardium Leviosa, it's just like def, do this. Yeah.
So I was doing
Who am
the.
I?
I was with my buddy who actually works here now, who's a hacker here, doing fighting. I was doing amateur mixed martial arts and doing that for a couple years. Just
And one professional fight, right?
one amateur fight.
Oh, okay. I thought you
Yeah.
had one like pro
I
fight.
mean,
No,
I consider it pro. He's like, it's there. Like
You
it's
can't just consider it pro. That's not how that works.
I mean,
I have a consensus quorum that this was
that
pro.
you
fight.
were in the ring. That's a fight.
Is
man.
there
That's
like
professional fight.
there's like a uniform body around it that has?
Yeah.
Oh, that sounds pro to me.
No. What?
If there's an organization that has like you on record, Dan McInerney on record.
Pro means you get paid for it.
Oh, you didn't get paid for
No,
it?
I didn't get paid.
Oh, okay.
They paid me in beer
Weak.
after the fight.
Oh, see,
Okay,
you got
so you
paid.
did
Yeah.
get
We have a
paid.
whole keg here, and I'm like, I'm the only one left.
Well, you got technically paid though. It's a pro. It's
Technically.
pro.
Yeah,
It's
you
pro.
got-
But I got burned out on
up.
that, and I wanted to go find a career because I knew that you're not going to make that a career. It's just a terrible career.
Did you win the fight?
I did.
Okay.
Yeah, he did.
Nice.
And then
Another reason for it to be pro. You can say you won a pro
Nothing
fight.
to do with this. All right,
Come on, man. I'm helping
so like
you
I
out.
got burned out on that, and I was like, I had to find a job because I'm making $12 an hour doing Google search rating, which, by the way, is a kind of a cool job.
SEO.
Wait. No, so Google hires out. They contract this company, and you get hired by that company, and they send you URLs, and they give you a list of results, and you rank order the results as to what you think is the most relevant. It's real easy, and they paid like $14 an hour, I think, at that time. And so I would just do that on my own time whenever I wanted to. And I remember just thinking the whole time, like, I'm wasting my time because this isn't an IT career. So all the time, hours I'm spending on these jobs are not going to pay off. It's not an investment in my future.
I bet it looks good on a resume though, because it's got the big G word. Like I
Yeah.
worked for Google.
I thought it looked pretty good
You
to get an entry-level IT job.
Yeah,
it was
yeah,
pretty
absolutely.
useful.
yeah, go
But
work
they had
as like
some
an
funny
entry
searches
sysadmin.
too. People search for some real weird stuff.
Yeah, I
real
bet.
weird stuff. There was one of them. One of the searches was Goggles Hardman. It was Goggles Hardman, and I'm thinking, I start laughing because it's kind of a funny name. And I start Googling it. There's not a single result anywhere on the internet for Goggles Hardman in 2011.
There's a term for that. A Google result that's 2 words or less that only has
Google,
like
Google bomb, I think.
Google bomb. Yeah, that's
Google
it. Yeah.
But this didn't have any results. No results whatsoever. So someone is just in their head, they're thinking, Goggles Hardman, Google.
I mean, they could have just been like really tripping or something.
I mean, you have to be on something to think of a name like Goggles Hardman.
The Goggles Hard Man. That sounds like
Maybe they
something.
meant hard hat and like
Goggles Hard Hat.
Goggles.
And
Oh,
then, you know what I
maybe.
mean?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
autocorrect.
I could
I
be it.
hope not.
I read a story about a guy who was looking for like a Led Zeppelin music video, and he was high on like painkillers from going to the dentist or something. Like he got a root canal, and he was searching for Led Zeppelin for like 2 hours and couldn't find it. And was freaking out, like, where is Led Zeppelin? And he wakes up the next morning and checks his search history, and it just says like Loop Zoop over and over and over and over.
One of the other ones was in all caps. Someone yells, "Head bleeding! Please help!" No, I'm sitting there
my
like, I don't
God.
think Google's gonna help you, brother.
911, man.
all
Come on.
caps.
Oh no!
Oh man.
Damn.
So life. Let's go back to you. So life in Italy. What was that like growing up as a young bite bleeder?
Very young player. Very interesting. It was definitely very interesting. When I grew up, it's better now. Like my sister has definitely got the better end of the country when in terms of like education and stuff. But when I grew up there, it was very weird because like it was right at the weird transition period in Italy where they were just starting to become like all digital. So it was like still really old school, like really, really old school. And they were just introducing computers into everything. And I think that sort of caused a lot of weird thinking in the like the teaching community and stuff for some reason. I'm not sure. I'm not exactly
Like
sure.
they didn't know how to integrate
Yeah,
computers
they didn't know.
properly. into
They
the-
didn't know about them. They didn't integrate it. They didn't even. So, like for example, like they didn't even consider computers a valid career path. Like when I was growing up.
Oh wow!
So, like none of the education system was.
Your parents didn't either. If I'm
Yes, my parents didn't either. Yes, but that's a whole other story. But yeah, my parents didn't either. But I think the main issue was mainly because like none of the teachers considered computers a valid career path. So like the whole education system there and it still is to a certain point, to a degree, especially in like little towns, is like based off of subjects that they're not interesting. Let's put it that way. It's like Latin, Greek, like ancient Greek. Like, where am I going to learn? Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it's just stuff that you really wouldn't be using unless you're like want to become a doctor or a literature historian or something like that. Like there really aren't a lot of applications to it. Yeah, combine that with the fact that it was a really small town, so they didn't really have a lot of choices when it came to teachers, and they wound up choosing some very interesting people to teach these kids, including me.
You got a favorite teacher story?
No, do I have one? Like every teacher I had.
It's just a character.
I remember
Chef Boyardee.
I remember visiting his school that he went to.
Oh my
And it's in an old
God.
nunnery, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Yeah,
It's an old nunnery.
Huh.
And
Yeah.
every teacher there that I saw was past 65, I want to say.
Yeah, but that's being very generous.
Yeah,
then.
they-
No,
lots of
they're in
gray
their
hair.
80s. Yeah, they're by now they're in their 80s. Like I mean, oh God, where do I even start? I had one teacher that had severe motor control problems.
Oh no.
Like I'm not even sure if they're motor control
What, like
problems.
Parkinson's?
No.
Oh.
It's like take Italian gesturing and just amp that up to like 2,000.
Oh, wow.
So like like you got this, you got the whole like flying the hands. So she just walks in every day and she's just like going like this, waving her hands everywhere. One day she comes in, she just like slaps a bottle of pencils like off.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it was nuts. And then one day she's got this big wedding ring on her finger,
Oh, no.
and she's just gesturing as per usual, and she just like slaps my friend on his tooth and just breaks his tooth.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Poor kid.
It's nuts. I had another teacher who was just a communist, just straight up.
That's not even a slur.
Straight up,
Just say
straight
the
up
facts.
communist. He used to come to school with a brown bag, brown suit. He used to preach about the glories.
He had a sickle in
of
one hand and
communism.
coming to kids. Shut up,
He used
kids.
to, and he also
Hammer.
and it was really funny too because he had a little lazy eye. So he used to be able
That's
to.
not nice.
No, it was fun. Listen, I was 14. Okay, it was funny to me, and it's still funny as looking back because he used to look over here and used to be able to yell at me on the other side of the room.
Let's say this for the record. He doesn't work here. He's not.
Oh, come on. Yeah, people can take a joke.
No,
It's fine.
No, continue. We're fine.
Yeah, no, it's fun. And
So
yeah,
you did a lot of computer stuff and like picked up coding and started making stuff, and Dan hit you up and said, "Want to come to Coalfire?"
yeah, but that was like when I was doing like I was in the first year of college by then.
Yeah, I told him to drop out.
Yeah.
Drop out now.
And I
Yeah,
did.
that's
Get out
good
when you
advice.
can.
Yeah,
Good
and it was
advice.
good. Yeah, and looking back, it was probably one of the best decisions I ever made because definitely wasn't not going anywhere.
So you just packed up and moved here?
Yep.
and-
No, this is a funny story too. So what our boss calls you up or emails you or something.
Oh
It's
yeah,
like,
that's right.
Weber
yeah.
still, right?
I think
or,
so.
Or was it Jones maybe
No, I
at
think
that
it was
point?
Price, wasn't it?
Price?
Oh,
Could've been
Price. Wow.
I don't know.
I don't know. Yeah.
So he emails him and he's like, "So yeah, you're hired. Like, when can you be here? I know you're in Italy and whatnot. So let's figure that out." And he's like, "Marcello's like, how does 6 days sound? It's like, oh, okay.
I'm ready right now.
No, I was
Get
ready.
the hell out of here."
I was ready. Yeah, I've
Nice.
been preparing for this moment.
I met him. So I invited him over to DEF CON. And
Las Vegas DEF CON?
Yeah. I said like, "Marcello, you should come out to DEF CON."
And I just want to preface this by saying this was my first time out of the States in like probably over 6 years, if not more.
Back to the States.
Yeah, back to the States.
okay.
Yeah.
6 years, dang.
Yeah, if not more. So
And
I've
you've
never been to Vegas
before?
Yeah,
Oh,
I've never
wow.
been to Vegas. Yeah.
So Marcello somehow just sends out a tweet. "Hey, anyone want to pay for my trip to DEF CON?" And someone was like, "Yeah, we'll pay for your trip from Italy to stay here all week." I don't know.
Yeah, that
Who
how
was
that
this?
works.
Was this
Right.
a
I
person
forget.
you knew?
Yeah,
You forget?
That's another
Remember that
that's another story.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But that was pretty cool. Yeah, that was cool then. That was
Nice.
cool.
Yeah,
then.
he walks into the ramen place. We went to a ramen place. Me and the
Yeah,
DC
yeah.
801 crew. DC 801's the DEF CON 801 group. They really were like cut my teeth out there. We always get together and go to ramen every year at DEF CON. And Marcello shows up out of nowhere and hangs out with the 20 of us or whatever at that table, and that was it for
Yeah.
the rest of the time.
And then
Dang,
the rest
nice.
is history.
We went and partied up in the DC 801 suite.
Yeah, that
DEF
was
CON.
fun. That was fun.
Was there anybody else like from Coalfire that was there, or like?
I don't think
like-
so. I think it was just I only knew
You
you.
know,
Like the only reason I only knew you. I was there for like the Arsenal, I think, or the Demo Lab or whatever the hell it was.
Yeah, there was a lot of Coalfire people there. I don't remember.
I don't remember
honestly.
meeting them.
And CrackMap exec at this time was still not around.
Yeah,
Like, you
no, I
made that
didn't.
while working for Coalfire?
Yeah, I made that while working here because the problem what I kept running into was that the short time frames that we had to test like very large networks, and there was nothing out there that actually was able to like do any post exploitation on a giant scale, which is what I needed to do.
I want to show a whole subnet.
Yeah. Like, can I do that? I mean, I can. So like, why not, right? And I definitely don't have enough time to do it manually. And I think at the time there was like SMB exec. There was like 3 tools. There was like SMB exec.
SMB exec was the big one.
And that was written in Ruby, and it was good. But the thing is, like to install it, it was just a pretty big pain because you had to compile like the pass the hash tools and stuff, which were like it was horrible with all the patches and stuff. And then there was like credcrack, and then there was another tool. SMB map. Yeah, there you go.
Well, because CrackMap exec
is like
those,
the
right?
combination of all those 3
Yeah.
tools. Which again is probably
Silliest
not
name I've ever heard.
Do you have
It is.
other names? And so we can start
Correct
beginning.
map exec. What do you think this tool does?
I imagine it cracks.
I
Something
did,
that works
yeah,
with
yeah.
it
Eggs or
executes and cracks.
People have told me it sounds like a really bad street drug.
Crack
CrackMap
map
exec. Yeah,
Yeah.
man. I got some CrackMap exec.
Can I get some of that? You have to pronounce it a bit different, though.
Yeah.
CrackMap exec.
Yeah, exactly.
Did you have other names like lined up for the tool? Now that we're talking about CME.
No,
I mean, you got the sweet like
I
Trident
was just really
Kraken
I
logo.
just wrote it, and then I was really drunk, and I thought, okay, what do I name this thing? Okay, there
Nothing
you go.
coming to me. Let's see. Table chair lamp.
There you go. Done. That's it.
So what was frustrating? Well, I read, I want to say, probably the Hacker's Playbook 1 or something on an airplane ride, and I start reading about all the new PowerShell attacks and stuff. This was back in 2000. What was that?
Yeah, this was when
13 or
PowerShell
14 or
was
something.
like all the rage, right? Yeah.
And so I'm like, oh my God, like, wait, I can write a Python script that just glues all this stuff together. And so I start writing. I put like a solid, 24 hours into this script. And I get to work on Monday, and Marcello's like, hey, you know what I'm working on? What you're working on, except way better.
I didn't say it like that. I'm not a dick. I'm going to try not to be at least.
Look at what I did.
I'm like, God damn it.
Dang.
That was fun. That was fun, though.
And
yeah,
then you added the --Daryl flag to CrackMap exec.
Yeah,
at some point,
Daryl.
right?
Yeah, that was a fun one because Daryl kept saying, like, can I just have like a button like that just like owns like an Active Directory domain? The thing is, like, I didn't really have enough time to do that. But then I wrote Death Star, so I guess I did. But okay.
Eventually had to free
Yeah, eventually. So I said, okay, fine. So I got --Daryl, and I just, I'm not going to say what it does. If you haven't tried it, try it.
It pulls up like
It's
a YouTube
surprise.
link or
Yeah,
something,
yeah,
right?
it does. A random YouTube link, which, I mean, it's not
Oh,
random.
random, okay.
It's like there's a list there that pulls
Oh,
it. It's
okay.
some nice videos, some nice stuff. Some
Nice.
nice stuff. Quality stuff.
Why do you think CME what was the path for CME to like get so big? Like, how did people find out about it? And like,
Honestly, I have no clue.
really?
I have no clue, honestly. I think it got popular just because I started talking about it a lot. I think that's
I'm going to talk
mainly-
about it at every con.
I mean, yeah, I think just people got so tired of me talking about it that they decided to try it. I think that's basically why.
Yeah,
But
you had like a world tour there going for
yeah.
for a while.
I mean,
I was
hell,
jealous.
I mean, I wanted to travel to places anyway. So I was like, sure. I mean, if you are willing to accept this talk, I will gladly talk about
That
this.
reminds me. I was talking to Nate about Hack in Paris. What you were telling me about Hack in Paris. Have you done Hack in? Have either of you done
I've
Hack
done
in
Hack
Paris
in
before?
You
You've
should
done it
do
once before.
I mean, you should. I mean, I think
It's fun.
Yeah, you should do it next year.
Yeah, you said they like treat their speakers really well, right?
Hack in Paris. I hear Troopers is all about this too, but Hack in Paris was by far one of like the best conferences I've ever been to in a while. Like that was a hell of a.
What sort of
That's quite
amenities?
a
Yeah, like they took us on a boat ride on the Seine through Paris.
romantic boat ride.
Yeah,
nice.
romantic
Yeah.
boat ride.
Wow.
Yeah,
In Paris.
yeah. We had
nonetheless.
a after party at the Louvre Gardens. Like it was some
Nice.
No way.
It was some dope settings. Yeah,
I
there
thought
was
Black
some-
Hat Europe was going to treat us to that really nice dinner.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So we're me and Logan were training Black Hat in Black Hat London, and they were like big speaker dinner.
Yeah.
And so we go to this dinner, and it's in the center of London. It's surrounded by the most expensive buildings you can possibly imagine.
It's incredible.
HSBC, just bank buildings 1,000,000 miles tall. So we're like, this is gonna be sick.
Well, and like a month prior, they sent us a survey email that had a menu of items to choose from. They were like, pick your 5 courses or whatever, and everything sounded exquisite.
Yeah, it was like Hunter's
Hunter's Terrine, and like
Yeah.
Gamekeeper's
that?
Terrine.
Gamekeeper's Terra.
was he
Terrine.
good?
I'll let Dan continue his story.
So we get on the bus and we get out there. The bus is fancy. Everyone's really happy. And we get out there and we sit down and we are sitting there and waiting for, I don't know.
It was like 45 minutes.
45 minutes before we got our first course. First course was literally 3 scoops of soup.
Yeah,
Like
it was a
3
huge
spoonfuls
bowl.
of soup.
A huge bowl.
Massive bowl with just a little tiny sprinkle of actual food in
Like
there.
a centimeter at the bottom of the little
So
bowl.
we eat that within 3 seconds, and we're all looking around at each other like, well, should we just keep drinking? Like,
Still starving because I was expecting to eat a big
super
meal.
hungry. And then they bring out the second course, and it's just like a piece of Spam,
On toast.
man.
a little bit of
Okay.
salt and Spam on toast.
Gordon Ramsay would not approve.
Turns out we
No.
went to like the downtown London equivalent of like an Olive Garden.
Oh.
Yeah,
It was
Okay,
it was
yeah,
amazing.
that'd
and we
do
were
it.
trapped there too for 2 hours.
Yeah, because
for
we
a
didn't want to be
dinner.
rude and leave. Like,
Yeah, well, the bus was going to take
oh,
us
that's
back.
right, the bus. Yeah,
I think
couldn't
eventually
leave.
we did just
We just
bail and
Ubered.
catch a lift.
Yeah.
That was very disappointing.
I had some really good food in Belfast. I'm kind of surprised that at least like I mean there's obviously has to be like better food.
When were you
around
in
there, right?
Belfast?
I was for Coalfire. I was a client. I was actually there with
Nice.
Ryan.
Nice.
Yeah. I was there for a
Sweet.
week. That was really good. That was a really good time.
What was the first talk you did?
The first talk I did was at 44Con for MITMF, and it's the most horrible thing. If you watch it, it's on the internet.
Oh,
now.
I gotta see this.
It is
See, everybody says their talks are
it is-
horrible, but you
no,
go back
no,
and
no,
look
no.
and they're fine.
No. This is horrible.
How horrible! Like,
was
Stickle
cringy.
says his OpenSSL or SSL talk is horrible. But I
had
really
to-
like Stickles.
My laptop died in the middle of the demo, and I had to take my charger out in the middle of the talk and plug it back in.
That's not
Technical.
bad.
I
Yeah.
mean, it's not like you dropped.
That's
your
the demo
laptop
gods. That's
and,
the
like,
demo gods.
I mean, that's pretty bad. Well, things, I don't know. I think that's pretty bad. I think that's up there.
people learn.
How old were you? Like 24? Give me a break.
In
21,
Belfast.
21.
Or wait,
21?
what
I
is
think so, yeah.
44
Oh
con?
my god.
44Con's in London.
Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
so you were in London, your first talk ever, traveling the world.
Yeah. I'm
Yeah,
not gonna lie.
that's
Yeah,
not
that was
bad.
pretty cool. Not gonna lie. Yeah, 44Con was my first ever talk.
Now, on CME, did you get any money? Like, was there any financial revenue that came in at all from?
That's funny.
Did you ever get Bitcoin donations
I actually
to your Bitcoin address?
I actually did get one Bitcoin donation of $100, which was
Nice.
pretty
Hey.
good. Which was
Wow,
pretty
really?
good.
That's
yeah,
good
yeah.
Not
sushi.
bad.
That was the only donation I've ever got. I think.
Nice. That's not bad.
I got a
What about
flatter
any
for
of the other
$10.
tools? Like, you
A
didn't
what
get
for
any
$10?
Financial.
Flatter?
I don't.
Flatter.
Okay, so
I know you get talks.
yeah.
Service. I still haven't pulled the money out, so I don't even know if it's there
You
anymore.
just have the account with $10 in it.
Someone donated $10.
Nice.
Yeah, no, I usually don't tend to put like I only recently put like the Bitcoin address in case people want to donate.
Yeah.
Just because I've had like 2 to 3 people ask me, but I've never received like any donations.
No.
So
Well,
I
and at
don't
that
know.
point, there was no R&D department for Coalfire, so you weren't getting hours for it.
Yeah, that is
Right.
true.
It was, like,
that is
totally
true.
in
Yeah, yeah,
downtime.
that is true. But yeah, there's usually no financial
Yeah.
backing behind. All
Nobody
this
gets into open source for the
you're
riches.
for the riches.
For the gold mine that open source is.
Unless you build like something like Git or something that.
Yeah, and you build a
Yeah.
company. Well,
Unless
then you're
you're
getting the money from the
Linus
company.
Torvald.
You're not
Yeah,
even getting
yeah.
the money. Why is Torvald? I don't even think he gets like
Probably gets
$50K a
some.
year from the Linux Foundation, and I'm sure he
Must
makes
get
plenty of money.
Some rights over Git, right? I mean, is it? I don't know.
Did
That's a good
Linus
question.
build Git?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, he built.
Yeah. I heard
He's
him say it in
responsible
the
for
talk,
like
yeah.
like the most common software like
Yeah.
used in like on
Yes.
the planet.
Wow. I knew he did the kernel. That's it. I didn't know he did other
Yeah,
stuff.
he was
Yeah.
frustrated with the patch management stuff that was out there, so he was like, "I'll just write
Yeah.
it myself."
Yeah.
And
Like
it's
a
damn
good
good.
hacker.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
Git.
really good.
He's a stake in Red Hat too, and Red Hat's worth like $1 billion. So I'm sure
Oh,
sure
wow.
he's making tons of money, but he's not making Steve Jobs money or Bill Gates money.
Yeah,
Well, and
no,
just
that's true, that's
like
true.
people write books and use him as a reference or whatever, and he gets 5,000 here and there.
Yeah,
I
speaking
Yeah,
imagine,
that's
stuff,
fair. That's
yeah.
fair.
yeah,
Yeah,
I
that's fair.
imagine he's fine.
But I
Yeah.
doubt he's a billionaire, and he should be because his technology runs the world.
It really does. Like literally runs the
And
world.
I imagine he does like consulting and stuff for like Google.
Oh yeah,
Probably.
probably.
I'm sure.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
sure.
It's like,
probably.
hey,
Poor Richard Stallman, on the other hand, though, gets no love for GNU.
Yeah,
It's GNU Linux, guys.
yeah. Please. That's I don't know. I never really fully understood like the difference of the whole. I don't know.
Yeah,
yeah.
It's very particular. Like
Yeah, it's
Linux is
very
the kernel
particular.
and GNU is everything
I just
around
use
it.
it.
or
I don't
whatever.
know like the technicality of like the behind it. I guess I don't know.
Yeah.
what operating systems do y'all use?
Well, I actually, up until like a couple of years ago, was on Linux. I was using Arch Linux or Arch Linux, whichever you prefer.
An Arch
or
guy.
Linux.
Arch.
It's actually
It's
Linux.
Arch.
Sorry, it's
It's
Linux.
GIF and it's Arch.
It's
Arch.
Linux. It's
Arch.
also
Linux.
Linux. Yeah, it's also
Arch.
Linux. It's Linux.
Marcello has trouble with a few English words.
I can't speak well.
Columbuscope.
One of them is kaleidoscope. Another is Linux.
Yeah, yeah.
Linux.
Yeah, I have a problem with English.
Ugandan knuckles.
I have a
Linux.
problem in general. Yeah, exactly.
Show me the Linux.
Yeah, I said that so many times during our Black Hat thing.
Oh my
Yeah.
Our Black Hat
gosh.
training.
What do you use now, though? No.
I use a Mac, actually.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, it's actually a good combination between like reporting tools and testing tools.
It's got like ZSH natively, right? Like this
No,
is-
it has Bash natively, but it's got a huge support for like
Okay.
third-party
Oh,
stuff.
Whoa,
Yeah.
mic tipped over.
I'm following on. It's fine. I get
You
it.
gotta turn the bass towards.
Okay.
Hitting it's not
angle.
actually going to help.
Okay. You
Like
get it?
turn,
Is this like
like
is
this.
Okay.
Like turn the whole base.
There's
Tech,
this.
tech.
I'm not getting it.
Tech, there it is. There it is.
Ah,
You got it.
okay. It's
Hack your way
physics
out of
is
a
hard.
microphone.
You can't run a Python script for this.
Yeah,
you have
I
to get into this, man. It's
Listen,
not gonna work.
listen. I have gaps in my knowledge. You should know this by now.
I went to 6 high schools.
Yeah, this is hardly news.
I
This is
failed
hardly
out of
news, man.
Wait a second. You're making a good case here for high
Get a degree after this.
It took me. You remember when I was at your place? It took me like 5 minutes to understand how to like get the box wine to.
Oh, yeah. Well, he's from Italy, so
Yeah.
he's like used to the fancy Italian bottles, and of course he comes over and you just
Oh, the
poor
box.
hackers. We get a box of wine, and Marcello spent like 15 minutes like poking at it, prodding. Maybe if I do a unit test, I'll figure this one out.
There are serious gaps in my knowledge. Man. I didn't go to college here.
They don't teach box wine in Italy.
He's a fast learner, though. I'll say.
Yeah.
So you're at Black Hills now, and you're doing what? Like same thing
I'm
here?
doing. It's mostly red teaming. It is mostly red teaming.
Do you get a lot of
really?
time for Silent Trinity and stuff? Like, how's that work?
Yeah. No, so R&D wise, we tend to do. So the way it works a little bit differently. So R&D is sort of factored into the engagement time.
Okay.
So we do tend to get a little bit more time during like engagements for R&D and stuff. So it's sort of factored in there, but still most of the time, most of the stuff that I do is after hours. It tends to be because like there's only a certain amount of time that I can like do R&D on a job. And,
Right.
Yeah, instead of like actually testing. So yeah, but it is mostly after hours though. Still.
But you still get like mostly red teams, like kind of.
Yeah. The work, it's mostly red teams, pen testing. That's the bulk of it.
You said you got some physical stuff too recently, right?
Yeah. So we tend to get mostly most of the red teams that we get tend to be without like physicals, like the physical component of it.
Okay.
But that's actually sort of starting to change, at least recently. We've gotten a bunch of red teams with actual physical components in it. So
How are you defining red team? Because when
That's a
people
good
say red
point.
team, a lot is physical.
yeah, that's one of those definitions that like change per security company. I think our definition of red team. Oh boy. Okay, on the
Don't
spot
make-
here. Yeah,
don't
yeah,
make
yeah.
your-
Black Hills
John,
Live.
don't fire me.
Your own Coalfire podcast.
Yeah, John, don't fire me. Okay, so I think our definition of red team is essentially just an all-out like attack simulation. That's essentially so like internet-based attacker wants to get into your company any way, shape, or form. That's basically our definition of it. And there may or may not be a physical component attached to it, but it's mostly virtual.
What I've noticed is the physical security, I don't think is like a company's greatest risk
Yeah,
in general.
Absolutely.
How often are
I
people
agree.
actually burning people
Right.
resources?
So
for
I
that stuff?
get why a lot of these companies don't want to include a physical component to their red teams, because phishing is going to be their number one way of getting
the
hacked.
odds of you getting broken into physically are much less likely.
Well, because
than-
if you go physically to a building and try to break in, you might get actually arrested
Or
Right.
shot.
You can't do this from Ukraine,
shot,
for
yeah.
instance. But it is also the most fun part of this job, breaking into skyscrapers.
yeah, that is definitely.
You've
You've got some really cool physical
Oh.
stories, don't you?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
What
Dan's
about
got some good.
I
ones.
wanna
the
hear 'em.
casino, like your picture on Twitter, isn't that from?
Yeah.
Yeah, tell us about that.
that was the bank job.
Yeah, bang.
okay.
The casino was more fun though. So the casino job was we had a red team against a major casino, massive facility. We had it several years in a row, and they fixed all the problems every single time that we red teamed them. So this is the third year we're doing them. We knew that this was going to be really difficult. So we get on site. I payload a USB flash drive because one of the first things I noticed was the business center was down, and so I had instant. What's the word?
like
Access?
a story, like a
Yeah.
pretext.
Pretext.
There you
okay.
go. Yeah.
An instant pretext for going to the concierge and saying, plug this in and run whatever's on it. So I go out there. I say it was from the Air Force or something. I don't remember what I said. It was something like that.
Air Force?
Something like that. Because there's a bunch of Air Force people around or something.
Oh, okay.
I don't remember if it was Air Force or something or another company or whatever. I go up to the front counter and I hand them the flash drive. I'm like, man, I'm in a huge hurry. Like, I need to get this document printed right now, but your business center's down. Like, can you please just do this real quick? So he's like, yeah, of course. He plugs it in and it says, do you want to run this macro? And I'm like, oh yeah, that's just the security from, whatever agency or company I was pretending to be from. And he's like, well, okay, click. And then I get a little ding on my phone like 10 seconds later.
Oh,
and I'm like, got him.
Nice.
So we get in, we run, I think we ran like User Hunter or something. This guy had admin permissions to some other computers, but not a lot of them. So we just did the whole credential
Shuffle.
Went from one computer, Mimikatz it, next computer, Mimikatz it, until we had DA. And once we got DA, that was Monday. We had just landed. We had like 2 more weeks on this engagement. And so I'm sitting here, the cogs in my head are turning. What can I do with this that's going to be really fun? Because we already won. We could already rob them. We had access to their player point system. And their player point system is like, it was something like 25 cents a point. And every time you put $10 in, you'd get a couple points. So we're like, well, we're just going to change my player account to have 1 million points on there. And then you can go cash those out whenever you want for real cash. So we're like, okay,
wow.
we win.
And you cashed out?
No, we did not cash anything we weren't allowed to. We went up to the thing. We went to the ATM. We put our card in, and we took a picture and a video of it saying we could, and then like our finger on the button, but we didn't cash out because we weren't allowed to.
Yeah, you didn't want to actually pull a Gary and steal $10,000 or whatever from a client.
Right. We didn't want any accounting misinformation around here.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm always super scared to pull the trigger on like proof of concepts like that.
Yeah.
It's like,
Because we've had engagements in the past where they've gotten crypto lockered, like right after we've done a pen test on them, and they're like, give us all your logs.
Yep, I remember that.
I want nothing to do with that.
I remember that.
I don't want to go to jail
that
or
was
get
fun.
fired.
Yeah, that
So
was fun.
it's like Tuesday and we already win. And so I'm thinking, oh man, all right, well, let's just start breaking into stuff. So like we're breaking into the golf course and we're breaking into like, every building we can and just sneaking around. And I get the idea that, you know what? I didn't think that my hotel room was nice enough. So I asked my boss, who was Jones at the time, if I could, we did a good job, right? So like, can we goof off a little bit? And he's like, just a little bit.
Just a little bit.
So I sign into the CEO's email address and I send an
man.
email to the concierge saying, hey, we have 2 contractors here that have done excellent work for us in the past. I'd really like you to upgrade their room to the nicest one you have, please.
The presidential suite or whatever.
I go downstairs 20 minutes later, and I guess he could tell just from the smile on my face that I was the guy that was getting that suite, because he takes one look at me and he's like, Mr. McInerney? I'm like, that's me. Drops the keys in my hand.
Nice.
Go to this suite, and we just had this awesome
my
penthouse at this
God.
casino.
That's so
It
awesome.
was so fun.
Man, I have my first physical coming up in like a year, like a couple weeks from now. I'm pretty excited about that. Physical pen tests are super fun.
Yeah, they are.
They're easy, too.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
unbelievable
So
how
many
easy
doors are
it
just
is.
left open. You can just
Yeah.
kind of walk right in.
If you have 5 techniques, you can break into 90% of commercial buildings in America. The can of air trick, the under the door tool,
Yeah.
a breaker bar tool, so you can stick it between the doors and hit the breaker bar on the other side.
Jimmy or Slim Jim.
Oh yeah,
whatever hell it's
the
called.
hall pass.
Yeah, the hall pass.
The hall
yeah.
pass with the credit card trick, and tailgating the cleaning crew. Those 5 techniques will get you into bank headquarters, banks.
And a King Supers card. King Supers cards are really good at shimming things, apparently.
Yeah, so are Starbucks gift cards.
Because they're
yeah,
like
yeah,
thinner.
yeah, exactly.
Well, they have just the right amount of flexibility and strength.
Shout out to
that
King Supers.
Good sales on meat. New sponsors.
We are
Breaking
not
into stuff.
sponsored
Thank you.
by
Thank you.
King-
This episode is sponsored by King Supers. Helping us break into stuff.
The really cool trick for the hall pass, though, the hall pass, I'll show you guys what a hall pass looks like. It's for getting open doors. You hook the latch on a door. You just hook the latch and you pull the latch in, and when the latch goes in, you just open the door. Because a door generally doesn't lock with the latch out. Like the latch is not locked there. The latch can still move. You're locking the door handle. You just pop that open.
Yeah.
But Justin Wynn and Gary DiMercurio had a really cool trick for this. They were breaking into I can't say, but it was a massive facility, and they couldn't get a hall pass into the door to enter the building. It was a side door, 1 a.m.
Oh,
So
I remember this.
What
Yeah.
they did was they ordered a plastic cutting board, like the ones that are like $1 on Amazon.
Oh, yeah.
Real flexible and long and plastic. And they just cut this little notch into the end of it. And that threaded perfectly around all the little obstacles between them and the latch, and then hooked the latch that way.
Yeah. The door frame.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Both of
got
those
it.
guys are
That'll work.
geniuses when it comes to some of this physical
Yeah,
stuff.
that
They're
is true.
great at
Yeah,
physical
yeah.
security.
They're really
Justin
good.
Wynn's got that really cool common keyed systems talk now that he's
Yeah.
giving around.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. He's
Super
doing-
great.
Yeah,
he's
most
really
of everything I learned was from Justin
Yep,
about physical
same,
security.
Same, yeah. He taught me a lot about physical security.
I would love to get him on the show. Like,
Yeah.
have him fly in from Florida. Like, hey,
Yeah, do it.
yeah, we just got to get the budget
You
for a
got
plane
the
ticket.
power. You got the power.
Me and Justin will be doing some physical security talks. We applied to a whole bunch of
That's right,
places.
yeah.
We haven't gotten any acceptances yet, so I can't say where we're going to be, but I guess I'll update my Twitter or something whenever we get to go talk. But you
What
got to
sort of-
come to it.
What sort of cons like do you guys like or normally apply to? Like, I like Wild West Hack and Fest a lot. DerbyCon's gone now.
Well, I mean, not yet. I mean, they got the one
Yeah,
more
it was
year.
the
They got
last
the
one, yeah.
last year. Well, I mean, I'm gonna say Wild West Hack and Fest, but that's sort of biased, I guess.
Yeah,
But-
right.
Yeah, but I usually go to 44Con. I try to at least. I try to submit to 44. And for some reason, like that time period is always bad for me. But I try to apply to Hack in Paris, did Demo Lab at DEF CON, the Arsenal at Black Hat, both US and Asia. I tend to like that setting a lot better than actually talking because it's much less informal. And people just come up
It's
and
less informal or more informal?
more informal. Sorry, yeah.
It's
up.
less informal.
It's more informal. It is
Italian
more
less
informal.
equals more.
Oh, it's a come and a go. Yeah.
You give
It's
and you
more
give.
informal. It is more informal. You got people like coming up, just asking you questions about your tool, seeing a demo, and then going. And so it's much more informal. So.
I didn't like the Arsenal that much last year just because like the really cool stuff that I really want to see at the Arsenal is always way too crowded.
Yep. You
so
can't
you're
get
like
in there.
5
That is
rows
true.
back.
Yeah,
and
that
there's
is
no
something.
microphones.
Yeah, no. The thing is, they do have microphones, but the problem is, there's like 5 people talking with microphones at the
Oh,
same
yeah,
time.
it's
So
super
like
loud.
people are yelling over each
In a
other.
very small room, too.
It is.
Small
It's
area.
getting bigger and bigger every year, and I think there's going to be a point where Black Hat is going to have to like rearrange that whole setup.
They should just break it out into a new con or something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
something. I don't
Yes.
know. Yeah.
Or like a
that'd be
big separate
interesting.
room or something. Do something with the Arsenal.
Yeah. There's going to have to be something done.
Because last year when the Spectre Ops guys were showing off the new Bloodhound updates, I really, really wanted to see that, and I remember I couldn't get more than like,
they had their own room. Like they had their own like enclosure. I think.
oh,
right?
nice.
Yeah.
Not when I went to see it, they didn't.
Oh,
but
okay.
maybe they moved or
It might have
something.
been. Yeah, they might have moved. Yeah, I don't know. They had their own enclosure at one point, which is really
That's
cool.
awesome.
Yeah,
That's necessary.
cool. Yeah. That is necessary. Yes. Yeah, that was cool. So Demo Labs 2 at DEF CON. I tend to submit to those mostly.
What about like I've never heard of ThoughtCon before, but now Barry and Price are doing that right
or
now.
thought.
Yeah, like thought, like that
Like thinking.
hoe over there.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have to
Yeah.
be careful when you say that.
all
Yeah,
right.
but I don't know. That's how it's spelled. That's how it's
Yeah,
spelled.
yeah.
I don't know what it actually means. But
It's,
it's called ThoughtCon.
It's an interesting name.
It looked fun.
Why is it called ThoughtCon?
I don't know. It's got like a whole Star Wars theme, like Darth Vader and the Stormtrooper helmets and stuff are on all the badges and
Really?
things.
Darth?
Yeah.
Okay.
I thought NOLACon was a blast.
I've
been to NOLACon, yeah.
But you're in New Orleans.
Yeah. So I took a little gator trip, or I went to the
Swamp?
bayou.
Oh.
I went to a kayak when I went and talked down there last year, and so I decided to make the most of the trip and go explore the swamp. So I get a kayak and I'm exploring the bayou and stuff. And I tell you, I've never seen so many spiders in my life. There's one point. At one point, there's a bunch of reeds in your way, and you have to like physically move your boat because your boat won't move in the water anymore. That's too thick. As soon as my boat touched those reeds, it was like the whites in Game of Thrones just overcoming my boat.
man.
Just dozens to hundreds of spiders swarming my boat. I was watching insects get picked off left and right of my boat. There's like crane flies. They're just getting hopped on, and other spiders are trying to steal the food from other spiders. It was a
war zone.
infestation.
We need to get David Attenborough to narrate this.
It was wild.
Oh my god, another spider!
I got the hell out of there. The alligators
insane.
were less scary than the spiders in that place.
Okay. I can see that actually because the alligators are probably just chilling,
They were
doing their
pretty chill.
thing.
They
Yeah,
were pretty
I can
chill.
see that. Yeah, unless you poke them with a stick or something.
Yeah, I wasn't doing that.
Yeah.
I was just giving them gentle pets.
That's fair. That's fair.
So what do you guys got coming up? Anything cool? I saw you're doing like some con in Detroit. You're like keynoting it.
Yeah. I'm
keynoting it.
Yeah, I'm keynoting
Hell
the
yeah.
Converge conference. Yeah, next week in Detroit. That's gonna be fun. I've never keynoted before, so that's gonna be interesting. To see.
How did that work? Like, did they just reach out to you?
They had reached out to me, and I was like, sure, why not? I'll do it and see what happens. So hopefully I won't suck. I guess we'll find out.
I saw it's like about C# stuff.
Yeah, it's about some of the research that I sort of started doing because of Silent Trinity.
Okay.
So embedding like scripting languages within C# for more dynamic payloads, I guess, for lack of a better word.
So like Iron Python stuff that you've been doing?
Yeah. There's a lot of Iron Python, but the beauty about C# is that, or .NET framework in general, because like all of these languages are considered .NET languages. Because
what are all these languages?
So there's like C#, PowerShell, VB.NET, Iron Python, Iron Ruby, Booleang, ClearScript, which I just discovered the other day. Like all of these languages are .NET languages because they're all built on the .NET framework. Okay, so like. And because of that, they're built on the same framework, so they're all interoperable. So you can,
What?
interoperable. It's a big word, I know.
What? Dude, you are killing him on this English. Let him speak.
It's a big word for me. I'm used to small words. I know.
Deal.
That was a good catch.
Interoperable.
Hey, there. See?
Damn it.
I'm just improving them. That's all.
God damn it, Dan. All right.
Oh, man.
Denim.
Yeah. I can't speak, man. I'm telling you. I got some sort of problem. All right.
Oh, man.
But anyway, yeah, they're all interoperable. Shut
Nice.
up. And
Good. No, that was good.
pretty good.
A+.
And you
10
can
out of 10 English. You passed this time.
and so basically you can embed them in each one another, right? So you can take PowerShell, embed it in C#, C# into PowerShell, Iron Python into PowerShell, C#, Iron Ruby. You can just keep embedding them if you wanted to, which is crazy. I'm not sure why.
Like an Ouroboros. That snake that eats its own tail.
Yeah.
Ouroboros.
Yeah.
Oh, crap. Now I'm the one who's
Yeah,
speaking
there you
wrong.
go.
No.
It's contagious. It's contagious. See, I'm telling you. You know what's funny is that
Interoperable.
my friends back in Italy say that because of me, they speak Italian a lot less better than they should. Because
Less better.
That's better than
It's
they
more
should.
informal.
Shut up.
A lot worse?
I think that's evidence for your point.
Yeah, there you go. Perfect. I proved my point.
Oh, man.
So what about you, Dan? Anything cool coming up? Like
Coming up.
talks or engagements? Or
I'll be doing a bunch of physical security talks. I just got done with one at Hackfort. Hackfort is...
Yeah, tell me about that.
Hackfort was awesome. Hackfort is in Boise, Idaho. And if you guys have never been to Boise, Idaho... Yeah.
I've been to Boise. I stopped during a road
Boise?
trip and got lunch.
It's beautiful. It's a
pretty
beautiful town. So there's something called Tree Fort Music Festival in Boise, where they take all the venues that can handle music, and they just have hundreds of musicians come at the same time for the same week. But there's all these mini forts. So Tree Fort's the music festival. Hack Fort is the tech festival. Yoga Fort is, for yoga. And there's like Science Fort and all this other stuff. But that was a super fun conference because it was like, it's low key, but Boise, Idaho is gorgeous. And the venue they had was this like playground there was a 4-story tall slide. So you go to the roof of this building.
So
They had it in.
It was like a fort.
It was like an adult building a fort. It was super cool.
That's awesome.
And so I did a physical security talk there about those 5 techniques that I mentioned earlier and
wow,
how
nice.
that got me into banks and headquarters and stuff. And then I'm going to be repeating a similar talk with Justin. Justin's going to handle the more technical aspects of physical security at
Win. Justin Win?
Yeah, Justin Wynn.
Yeah.
We'll be doing that. We've got a couple B-sides we're doing, and then we applied to like GERCon and some other places. We're not doing original research, so I don't expect to get into the major conferences, but we can definitely tell some entertaining stories, and we've gotten some really good audience feedback on that. So we'll be doing that coming up, and I'm doing some research right now. I will be releasing PyMetasploit 3, which is a library for automating Metasploit with Python, based on the original PyMetasploit library, which was abandoned like 5 years ago. It's a great library, but it was abandoned, so I had to update all the API calls and do unit testing and all that stuff.
Have you announced that yet? Or is this
It's
first?
public on my GitHub, but I haven't like said, hey, it's done. We'll be announcing it soon,
Okay.
within like the next, I think, week or two
That's awesome.
for the actual first release.
Are y'all,
Go ahead.
I was going to ask something about, are y'all going to be adding to like your existing stuff like Icebreaker 2, CME 2?
I don't know. I have a real problem with going back to projects that I built.
Yeah.
Like you just can't read the code or what?
No, it's just...
It depends on
once
the
it's
project.
out.
It does depend on the project.
Yeah, I feel you on that one.
You work on it so hard, and then you just kind of don't... I just don't really want to go back and update it. So, like GitHub has 82 repositories, and there's probably 3 working tools in there.
Oh, nice.
They worked when I released them, and then things get updated.
Yeah,
and
but
I'm
it's
like,
not-
someone else can fix this. It's open source.
That's the beauty of open source.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you want it so bad, make it yourself.
Yeah, that's true.
Marcello knows all about
Yeah.
the weirdos on open source,
Oh
though.
my God! Don't even get me started.
Good night,
I get
friend.
Good night, friend.
I love seeing the messages
emails.
and stuff from you.
We were on the road trip once, and I get this email in the car. You remember that?
Yep.
And
Yep.
and I'm and I just start reading it, and it was the best opening line ever. It was "Good night, friend."
That's how it
already.
started.
That's just how it started. I was like, "Oh, this is gonna be amazing.
Great.
This is gonna be great. I can't wait."
Oh,
And it was just like a bunch of like it made no sense whatsoever.
Yeah, he clearly was
Absolutely no
using
sense.
Google Translate or something.
Oh.
I don't know. You're probably right. He's not, because Google Translate
It's
is
not that
better
bad.
than saying "good night."
Google
friend."
Translate is not that bad. Like, it's not as bad as that email. Like,
Yeah.
I don't care what language you speak; it'll still
Yeah,
translate
I
better
think he
than
was
that.
just trying to use his skills, and he just
Might
couldn't.
have just dictionary every.
He could have been. I
Oh,
mean,
yeah.
I don't know. It's still though.
Like he knew how to say good morning and was like, what's the other word?
Yeah,
Night.
good night.
It's
Okay.
midnight
Yeah.
right now when I'm sending this email, so good night. friend.
And I want him to know I'm friendly. So I should go on.
It was really weird. Yeah, I got people like opening up issues demanding that I drop everything that I do, like everything that I'm doing right now, and fix this thing.
Oh yeah.
Because otherwise, I am not a human being, and I should curl up in the fetal position on the floor and just I don't know, whip myself or something.
Insulting comments you get sometimes in open source are kind of fun though, because you have
They
no obligation to be nice. This is not a
Yeah,
professional
that's the thing.
environment. If this
the
guy's
thing.
nasty to me, oh man, it's on.
Yeah.
You
that's
sent
true,
me
that's true.
something about like I think it was like the Wi-Fi jammer thing. Like someone was accusing you of being a criminal, and
Oh
you,
no.
you told him off.
He yelled at me for calling it Wi-Fi jammer. He's like, "This doesn't jam Wi-Fi. It's
That's
just
what it was.
DOFs." And I'm like, I know.
But it
I
effectively
know.
jams this.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
And so he just
technically.
kept complaining, and I don't remember. I just kind of went off on him.
Yeah,
But it felt really cathartic because, I'm not
you
getting
gotta
fired for
let
this.
out the rage.
Yeah, I'm essentially taking out the rage that I sometimes have on clients. Clients doing silly things
Yeah.
or being, wanting more than they paid for or something. Took it out on him.
That's the one downside of if you like have an idea and actually get R&D time for it now, is that it's like going to be released by Coalfire and you can't be an asshole.
I know.
You can't be an asshole in the
Sad.
issues and be like, shut up, I don't care, I don't want to fix it. It's like, I guess I gotta.
Marcello made all these
Not
custom
me.
tags.
like issue tags? Like,
Yeah,
They're
they're
the
great.
funniest. You
Yeah.
got to go through some of like CME and Man in the Middle framework have some of the best ones.
Yeah, man in the middle. I archived that repository, so all the issues are gone.
Do you have like an idiot tag or something?
No,
for the
no,
issues?
it wasn't that bad. But like, there were definitely like a couple of tags that that definitely encouraged people to give me more information on the issue.
Condescendingly.
Yeah, exactly. Like there was.
Listen, idiot.
Oh my god, there was one. I think he was Russian or something. There was one dude who opened this issue, and it was literally. It wasn't even like words. It was just like hieroglyphics. Like, it wasn't even a language.
Maybe it was like
some
Unicode that
kind
got
of-
moved wrong.
Yeah,
'cause
or
Russian
something.
language
I don't know.
uses
And I
that.
gave that person the worst bug report award of 2018 because like I could not understand a single thing. And there was this
Did he
one-
reply?
Yeah, he did.
Oh,
and
my.
it was more hieroglyphics. So like I'm just okay at this point. Like I'm sorry, man. I don't know what to do. And there was at one point though, there was like one English word in all of that, and it was abracadabra.
No way.
Best freaking abracadabra. And I'm like, okay, and I literally respond to him. Okay, so first off, this is by
Point
far,
number one.
Yeah, point number one. This is by far the worst freaking thing I've ever seen in my life, and I think I have to like I have to puke after this. But and then
My stomach hurts. From
Second thing,
reading this.
yeah, exactly. And second thing, like I don't know what you mean by abracadabra, but I'm going to assume
He's saying hop on it.
Yeah,
Abracadabra.
Yeah, I'm gonna
Let's
assume
go.
it's the abracadabra relates to the hieroglyphs in some way or fashion. It was
He was
just
trying to
weird
cast a
stuff.
spell
Yeah,
on
you see
maybe.
what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
The computer is just a magic orb that people put incantations
That
in.
could
Yeah,
be it.
yeah.
That would explain.
Abracadabra.
That would
Abracadabra.
explain. That was by far like that was a good one. I had another one saying there was. I think it was I obviously I know what he means by this, but like it was just worded really badly. Like my brother is currently attacking me, and I'm attacking him.
That's funny. Like for a test. Or
Yeah,
whatever,
no, it was the man in the middle framework. So obviously,
Yeah.
like he was like man in the middle. Like, they were
Yeah.
testing it out or something.
Yeah.
I don't know. But yeah, no, I was like, I don't condone violence.
My brother is
just
attacking
FYI.
me.
Yeah.
Help! Please help!
The head is bleeding.
It was really funny. I got some really funny ones over the years. It was,
So what about like version numbers? I know you had a pretty awesome version numbering system for CME, but
yeah.
have you carried
it was
that
more
on?
of the code name than anything. Like
Yeah.
the versioning, it was the code names, and that was just like related to stuff that like just happened to us.
Just inside jokes. From
Inside
Coalfire,
jokes.
essentially.
Yeah,
I remember bug porn was my...
bug porn was one. Oh yeah, that was. Yeah, I'm not gonna tell that story.
I'm very curious right now. I'm not
bug
gonna
porn
lie.
was the current version of CME. I think is bug porn.
It was like 4 point something.
Yeah, what's the feeling buggy thing?
Are you feeling buggy? Yeah,
Yeah.
that's related.
Oh
so
wait, you know this story
yeah,
too.
I was there for that one,
you
yeah.
were there for that one.
It
Yeah,
was
yeah.
we were all doing a CTF. It was like me, Marcello. I think you were there. It was at the Hacker House when that
Yeah,
was around. So
and-
we were doing a CTF. It was the Bishop Fox hiring CTF. We just wanted to try it out, and I let Marcello borrow my laptop because he didn't bring his.
First mistake.
Yeah. 'Cause I was like, honor among thieves. We're all doing a CTF together. Marcello didn't bring his laptop. He says he wants to try something because he has an idea for how he might do the CTF. And then I leave for like 30 seconds and come back, and my wallpaper, my icon for my account, like everything. It's like, I don't know how he
you be
changed
nice
some
to
of these
Marcello.
things.
See, this is what you get. I'm telling you, I learned my lesson long ago.
Everything was changed to some form of picture of like bugs having sex.
Yeah, it was great.
It was like a big
was
evil
fantastic.
like grasshopper.
No, but the thing is, I didn't know about this because I think Jim previously mentioned this to me. It was Jim that previously brought up the subject of bug porn. I did not
So this
know.
was pre-rooted.
Yeah, it was
This was-
pre-rooted. So
Oh,
I had to.
messed up.
Yeah. So I had to. Okay. So I'm in too deep at this point. I gotta. Yeah.
So your outlet was CME and Logan's.
Yeah,
and-
Logan's
okay.
computer.
Bullying
yeah,
my
basically.
PC.
Yeah. There was some good.
It took me forever to get rid of that stuff
Yeah.
too.
I still don't think you found all of them.
You mentioned something about like PowerShell. You
Yeah,
made
yeah.
modified
Oh my
PowerShell. I
God.
haven't found that yet. But
Jeez.
I've since wiped that laptop. With,
Okay.
and I installed Arch on it, and then wiped it and reinstalled Windows 10 again over it. So it's
Wasn't everyone's first hack to go to their teacher's computer and change the autocorrect from like change the word
You're a
the
disturbing
to
individual.
you know
No,
like
it was
yeah
not
like
mine.
butts.
my first hack was I was in a computer lab and I changed the Internet Explorer shortcut to point to a batch script that just popped up a box and said like you have been hacked over and over again.
Yeah.
That's
Very
all it
North
did.
Korean of you.
Yeah,
that is
it
very
didn't
North
actually do any hacking. It just popped up and said that. And if you went into actually like click the programs iExplore.exe, you'd get Internet Explorer. I just changed the shortcut.
Yeah, I did that. Only that it was to shut down the computer. So like it was
Nice.
just
Shut down
shut
.exe.
down the
Oh,
computer.
no.
That was fun. Especially
Victor.
on my teachers.
Oh man, yeah, they probably thought they were possessed.
Actually,
Funny you should mention.
funny. Yeah. There's a whole new thing about that. Yeah.
Go on.
So when I was at the private school that one year, there was this woman who was really religious, like really to a point where it was obnoxious. Like,
Like we know you're going to heaven, lady.
Yeah, I
Like,
get it. Like, so what I used to do, and I was just discovering the magic of printers back then. So what I used to do, just to like, I don't know, man. All right, what I used to do is I used to send like pentagrams. To print pentagrams in her printer.
man.
Yeah. It was really funny though because
It was, I swear it was funny.
it was
funny
mean
for
to
me,
her.
I
Everyone
promise.
else thought it was funny
really
though. It's fine.
It was
It's
really
fine.
funny though because she used to come back into the class and just like wave the cross around. Wave the cross and just like exit. And I'm just like, hey, you're back again.
We have a test today? Not anymore.
Not anymore.
Control P.
Yeah. It was really funny. That was really funny.
Okay. Yeah. So I still have a lot more I want to talk about. I want to talk about SANS courses. I want to ask more about Black Hills and like how old John Strand operates. Because I've heard that you said it was like a pirate ship or something.
It is. Yeah, we call it a pirate.
That's
ship.
the inner term for
it. Really is.
I imagine that comes with some interesting stories. So
It actually works pretty well. But yeah, go on.
nice. Yeah. So we'll talk about all sorts of stuff. But for now, let's take a break. I'm thirsty.
Yeah,
So-
we'll take a break and we'll be back.
Yeah, we'll be back. Hopefully in the next episode. Like a week from now. I don't know. We'll
Yeah.
see. Goodbye.